We hit rock bottom last week, folks. The Phillies were eliminated from the NLDS, and the Eagles lost a second straight game to the freaking Giants, Jake.
But a strange feeling is washing over us now, Marshall. It's warm and comforting like a towel straight out of the dryer. It's hope, Marshall. It's hope. The Eagles brought joy to our lives when we needed it most, and in my case, when I expected it the least. Rejoice with us for the love of Broad Street. For the love of Broad Street, welcome back to the show. I'm Jake, that's Marshall. With the Phils out of contention, we turn our attention to free agency. We'll go over the big pieces, who needs a new contract, and face the harsh reality that we probably won't be bringing them all back.
Probably not, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. For now, let's revel in a very solid Eagles win in a game that you predicted they would lose, Jake.
I think that's why they won. Because they just spite me. They go, whenever I think they'll win, they tank to the Giants, or they give up a historic comeback to the freaking Broncos.
Yes, yeah. Who just did it again yesterday, by the way.
To the Giants, to the other team that beat us. That was like the Eagles, Victor's bowl off.
Yeah.
But I think they went to Minnesota, and in the locker room, they huddled around, and they said, there's this jerk from this podcast, and he said we're gonna lose, so we got to go out there and prove him wrong. And listen, if that's what it takes, I'll be the bad guy. I'll pick him to lose every week, because for all the grief that I give Jalen Hurts, statistically, Marshall, he was actually perfect. According to the quarterback rating, he was perfect.
Can't get better. Cannot get better than his performance. And I think, aside from the rating, it also looked like the best game we've seen him play as a passer, probably dating back to last year against the Steelers is the last time we really saw something to this level. The numbers speak for themselves. 158.3 quarterback rating, you mentioned it. 77.5% completion is the standard there, Jake. I mean, that's crazy.
I looked this up because I was like, what is quarterback rating? It's just like a random number. And anything above like 120 is excellent, and below 100, not great, And so I was like, what makes a perfect quarterback rating?
Right.
So it's like you said, it's 77.5% completion percentage as the baseline. 12.5 yards per attempt, which I think might be the bugaboo for Hurts on most occasions, because we like those little dink and dunk passes. And then the really weird one, which I had no idea about, you need a touchdown on at least, get this, 11.875% of passes.
Such an arbitrary number. What
is that? I don't know. But also 0 interceptions. Hurts is good at that part, and I think we all know that.
Yeah.
But those guys out there, including myself to some extent, who want the stat line, he put it up. 19 for 23, 326 yards, 3 tuds. I mean, those are all pro numbers. Just
incredibly efficient. It felt like there was a difference in this game in terms of approach. For the first time, really, we saw some play action passes on a first down, Jake. Crazy to break that mold of handing it off on a 1st and 10. But they went to it pretty early in this game, and they stuck with it. You get the long completion later in the game to Devontae Smith, a beautiful 79-yard touchdown pass.
It was so nice.
Unbelievable. I mean, it harkens back to the dagger in the Super Bowl. Honestly, that was the one it reminded me of a little bit. But an even longer throw, and to break away from Isaiah Rodgers, who we all wish was on the opposite sideline. He looked like kind of a fool on a couple of these plays with AJ
torched.
And with Devontae. But okay, let's go back to that first touchdown drive. It's a 4th and 4. The Eagles are in that kind of no man's land where you think that Jake Elliott could probably make this field goal, especially considering it's in a dome. But you're trying to set a tone. Coming off a bad loss to the New York Giants, we're putting all the chips on the table. I like the aggressiveness. The thing that made this play work, though, Jalen Hurts has time in the pocket. And I think that's the thing that for all of these throws was necessary. If you want things to develop downfield, you're going to have 3, 4 seconds, 5 seconds sometimes to throw the ball. He shuffles to his left a little bit. He waits for that safety to come down a little bit to bite on a comeback route. Gives the point to
The
AJ,
point. It's like
and
backyard football.
boom, up the sideline, strike to him. And it just felt like that was a moment that had to happen to get this team back on track, especially given all of the animosity that we've, seen, the clear signs of depression, both from Devontae Smith and from AJ Brown. AJ probably more notably that depression was on his face, but seeing him get back in the game like that, thump the chest, here I am, let's go, throws the ball into the stands. That's what we've been missing from this offense, and we got it right away. Luckily, we were able to sustain it throughout the rest of the game, too.
I not to rain on the parade, but I'm gonna rain on the parade. That wasn't a good play call. You know what I mean?
No.
Like it was like a nothing like 8 yard, comeback route.
Yeah.
And like if not for Hurts having that time that you mentioned, that's a dead nothing play. I mean, Brown kind of gave up. Like he just kind of like ran the comeback route. He had the body on him. And then he looked back and was like, oh, Hurts is still on his feet. And then Hurts points, and that's what makes the play.
Right. Yeah, so, off schedule for sure.
Right. I don't wanna get too high on Patullo because I legitimately don't think that was a good play call. However, to your point, the play action on first down, which like I think someone whispered, we don't have to run it on first down every time, Kevin.
Crazy idea.
We could do something. But I will say I love that he ran a couple looks from under center. Because first of all, we never go under center, and when we do, it's like a run 99.99% of the time. So for him to run play action out of that formation, I'm like, okay, hat tip, well done, Kevin. But I will say that explosive touchdown from AJ Brown, that was backyard football. That was not play calling. Totally. That was not Kevin Patullo. That was the guys, the Jimmies and the Joes on the field making a play. And this was, like as we said, not the only explosive play. That Devontae Smith touchdown was cathartic. I was feeling like, remember that Mike Vick to Deshaun Jackson bomb?
It did have that feel. Over Landry.
I felt so good.
Monday night against Washington, yeah.
Yeah, we were just so used to watching these guys just ran their heads against the wall. And then finally we just hit one. And it was, each of the last two games where we lost, we had a shot that Hurts missed, or that AJ Brown didn't, run his route all the way, or whoever's fault it was, it didn't.
Connection wasn't there. Yeah.
And then in this game, it just kept working, and it just felt so good. I felt this weight come off my shoulders, and I'm not even playing. I can't imagine how AJ Brown and Devontae Smith feel, because like you could tell AJ Brown was vocal about it, but Devontae Smith was not his normal chipper self on the sideline.
No. He was barking. I remember, kind of a shot last week where he was getting animated with folks on the sideline, clearly having some frustration, obviously, because his performance prior to this, he topped out at 80 yards. I mean, he wasn't reaching the heights that we expected him to reach, or we always come to expect out of both of these wide receivers. 180 plus for Devontae in this game. He's got to be a happy guy. And the thing that, again, was coming to bear here was that the pocket was maintaining a pretty sound area for Jalen to be able to stand back there and toss the ball. There are some plays and some completions specifically to Devontae Smith that I don't think happen unless that protection is there. And I think we did a much better job of kind of moving the pocket a little bit, getting Jalen again on the play action, or getting him on the move a little bit. You think of a 3rd and 15 that was, I believe, in the third quarter in this game, that Hurts has to roll out to his left and kind of throws down the sideline. Devontae's there. There's another, key over the middle pass to Devontae for 20 yards or so, where again, he's got a lot of time. He's able to come back to the ball, finds that opening in the middle of the field, and another really good conversion. And I thought that Jalen played a really, really solid game all around. Obviously, 19 to 23. There was another throw down the sideline early in the game that it was kind of in the area for two people to be able to catch it. Devontae gets his hands on that and almost made a brilliant tiptoe
Yeah.
catch on the sideline there, which would have improved his stats a little bit. Tough catch, but Jalen was able to be active, move out. Another big conversion late in this game is a third and 12 plus, I believe, to AJ Brown on the sideline, a kind of comebacker that only happens because Jalen's able to escape and create on the go. And then we get that long touchdown to AJ, and then a second long touchdown to AJ to really kind of put a finish to this one, or really put the Eagles in the driver's seat in this game, kind of down the seam. And AJ's just too big. There's three guys there, but it doesn't matter. AJ's in for the score. And I love that Devontae immediately celebrating with them. I mean, hands up in
Yeah.
the air, touchdown before he even got into the end zone.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
and then the seal on this game really happens on another, third down opportunity. The Eagles have been horrible on third down the last 2 weeks, but just throw it up to your best player. I mean, just throw it up to AJ Brown.
Right.
They do that. They beat Rodgers. They knew they could. They probably saw it in practice all of last year. AJ going up against Rodgers, and boom, another 30 plus yard catch, another boon to Jalen Hurts stats, and a happy, I hope, AJ Brown with 120 plus yards
Yeah, I don't know what else he's gonna ask for if
and
he's
two
not happy
tuds.
after that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard it on the hot mic, but he said, "Just throw me the effing ball."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that. I hope hopefully we at least we get by him 2 or 3 weeks. There's trade rumors flying around. I don't really think I buy them.
I don't either.
Especially because we're now 5-2. Like, where are you going to go to put you in a
Yeah.
better spot than where we're
Right.
at? But to your point about the O line, I said it in our very first episode. This unit is elite when
Hmm.
everyone's healthy, and
Hmm.
for the last 2 weeks, not everyone's been healthy. Lane
No,
Johnson's been struggling. Landon Dickerson's been struggling. They are both back in this game, and what do you know? Hertz has all the time in the world
yeah,
to make throws. And listen, when we are at full strength, I don't think there's a better offensive line in the league when we're at full strength.
right.
One of those guys goes down, and then all of a sudden you're going, oh no. Jurgens left this game very briefly. And I forget if it was Toth or Pryor taking snaps at center. I'm going, oh no, like not again.
Right.
But Jurgens comes back in, and the offensive line dominance continues in the passing game. But I want to pick your brain here. What's going on with our run blocking? It's the same guys, sans one
Yeah.
in Steen, and Steen's a very solid replacement for Mekhi Becton. But all of a sudden, Barkley can't get anything going. He's getting hit in the backfield. What's happening, Marshall?
That's been happening all year. And I don't know. It might be a scheme thing. It might be that the offensive line is not coordinating well. Tyler Steen obviously is the new guy, but I think we underestimate the injury maybe to Cam Jurgens and his ability to pull and to get out into those run lanes. You think back to, oh hey, what jerseys do we have on here, Jake? What
We
think
love
back
you,
to
Jason.
we think back to this guy, and his whole career was kind of centered around let's pull, let's get out on the run. I'm going to block guys 15 yards down the field. If you don't have a guy like that, Cam has done that for this team, but he's been banged up. I think that obviously is a contributing factor, but also it just, again, I think in the run game especially, we have been incredibly predictable. I still feel that there's a lack of variety in the run offense, and I think we at this point cannot discredit the possibility that the wear and tear of a 2,000-yard season is in fact showing its ugly head when
Right.
it comes to Saquon Barkley and his performance. It doesn't appear when we watch the games on Sunday that he's lost a step, but it's a true possibility. It's just the production has not been there. He still is making those quick cuts. He's still, there were a few times in this game where he made a 4 yard gain, 5 yard gain out of what probably would have been a 1 yard loss or a 1 yard gain for another running back in this league. So
Right.
you take the good with the bad, but it's still 18 for 44, Jake. That's not the
Yeah.
performance you want.
My thing is, so I obviously, Saquon's gonna have some wear and tear, and maybe there is some fault because you don't know like what the actual play call is, how it's supposed to work versus how it actually looks. But I go back to a stat from last year, which was just mind blowing, which was that on average, Saquon wasn't getting touched until he was 4 yards past the line of
Right.
scrimmage last year. That's
Yeah.
first of all, you're not going to repeat that. That's
No.
like
All world.
insane,
Yeah.
right? Like crazy. But I don't know what the number is this season, but we're towards the bottom.
Yeah.
How does that happen? How do we go from like best ever to towards the bottom? He's getting hit in the backfield just like not statistically, just anecdotally, just so much. I feel like every other run, he's getting hit behind the line, and he's having to do all his crazy cuts and spins and stuff to gain 2 yards.
Right.
And I just again, there must be a scheming issue, injury issue. What I just don't get how we go from like world record to close to bottom. It's just I don't understand.
Yeah. Total just 47 yards before contact this season. That's
That's crazy.
27th most among running backs, which is
It's crazy.
crazy, crazy low for.
Coming off of, like we said, just this insane year.
Yeah.
Insane. Listen, Mekhi Becton is a fantastic player. You see the impact he's having with the Los Angeles Chargers. Like
Yeah.
he revolutionized that interior run game for them. He's a great player, but it's not like Steen's like some chump we found lying on the side of the road. He's
No.
a really good player, and for there to be one substitute on this same line, and for it to be that drastic, I hate to say it, I kind of think it's Kevin Patullo again. I don't know about you.
Could be that. I mean, again, another year. Landon has been off and on the field.
Right.
Cam has been off and on the field. Those injuries go back to last year when they were putting a lot into this run game. I,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how healthy your interior line is right now. Tyler Steen, the replacement of Mekhi Becton aside, you may be starting to see the pass offense working a little bit better. Maybe that takes some pressure eventually off of the run defense. People start trying to play the pass. I mean, you saw it against the Vikings. They again were loading the box, 8, 9 guys sometimes up against the line of scrimmage there, wanting to stop the run. And then there were also times when the Eagles, they thought there was a blitz coming, thought there were 9 guys on the line that were going to be attacking the quarterback, and then they drop out of that coverage. It just felt like that was almost their base defense, and that's tough to run against for any team in this league if you're going to stack the box like that. And I think that's really what allowed the Eagles to exploit some of these opportunities in the secondary, is that approach to, we've got to still stop the run. That's the only thing that, if they have an identity, it's going to be that, right? It's either going to be Jalen Hurts' legs or Saquon Barkley's legs. We're not going to be beat on the ground if you're the Vikings. That's what they were going to this game, obviously saying, we're not as concerned about the pass. And they got burned. They got absolutely torched in the secondary. So
Yeah, there's obviously, I think there's still some questions surrounding this offense. Again, score said 28, but only 3 of those were offensive touchdowns because this defense came up huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. Listen, 22 points is it's not like it was a dominant performance, but
no.
in terms of compared to what we put on the field the last 2 weeks, compared to what we put on the field this week against, albeit a backup quarterback, but with all those offensive weapons, we only allow 1 touchdown. We allow 5 field goals, which sounds bad, but that's 5 times they were in field goal range and didn't score a touchdown, which I view as a huge win, a massive win.
Especially for a defense that had been giving up points in droves to the New York Giants.
Right, with a rookie quarterback. Forget a backup, a rookie quarterback. And listen, I almost felt bad for Carson Wentz just watching him getting pummeled.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we needed that. I mean, because there have been so many questions from me included, accusing this pass rush of being invisible. And they showed up today. I mean, they showed up. 2 sacks, 8 hits. Jalen Carter being back obviously helped. But, Uche, Ajomo, Hunt, you just
Yeah.
felt so good, Marshall.
It
I don't know
did feel
about you.
good. I don't remember if the Eagles have had a defensive lineman intercept the ball and return it for a touchdown. I think the last time I remember is the Josh Sweat play. The Eagles against the Cowboys might have been around Thanksgiving of 2022 or 23. But crazy that, Jalen Hunt is dropping back into coverage there, and Jalen Carter comes through the middle
And
and
clocks him.
demolishes Carson
Clocks him.
Wentz.
Oh, I
And
felt so bad.
I know, and he gets walloped, and he throws the ball right into the arms of Hunt, who
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I believe, dropped a pick. Maybe it was last week actually, dropped a pick that would have been a big turning point in that game. This is a defense that needs to make the most of the opportunities that it comes across, and to this point, they haven't been stifling many teams, but they've been opportunistic. And that was a big, big swing in this game for the Eagles to tally on, get another touchdown, make it a 14-3 game, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
So,
And
and then you get
it,
an interception right after that. They didn't turn into any points, but it just another like we're just going to
turnover
be
battle.
relentless and getting these turnovers for sure.
And the thing that I love to see is that it wasn't just Carter.
Yeah,
So like the pick six was basically Carter.
yeah,
But when you just look at the stat line, like Uche comes up with a sack,
right.
Ojomo comes up with a sack. Like
Magellan
those
had
are
a
the
big
guys.
situational sack too. That was a
Yeah.
that was like a third down play.
Those are the types of guys that we thought needed to contribute this
Hmm.
year, and they haven't. They've been nowhere, and I don't know what happened in this game, but they showed up. And when they show up, I think we're back at an elite defense. It's just that for the last 2 weeks, they've been, MIA. Carter literally MIA with an injury last week. You see
Yeah,
the difference he makes, presumably not at 100%, I'm thinking,
right.
and he still is just lighting people up.
He
And
is.
that pick six was his. I mean, Hunt did great, but it
It
was
is.
it was a Carter sack.
We can't move off of this without talking about the play of Quinyon Mitchell, who virtually shut down Justin
Uh,
Jefferson. 20 times he lined up opposite Justin Jefferson, targeted 3 times, allowed one catch for 10 yards against probably the best wide receiver of this generation, maybe. I mean, you're
yeah,
talking he or Jamar
Jamar
Chase.
Chase, yeah, 1A and 1B, take your pick on any given day, but one of the two best receivers of this, as you said, of this generation, at least in the NFL right now. I don't know how that man does it, but he's incredible.
He
I
is
mean,
incredible.
he is a blanket. And he
Hmm.
doesn't like the thing that drives me nuts about like a Jacorian Bennett is like he's a really physical corner, which is good, but in the NFL anymore, you get so many flags thrown at you.
Hmm.
Mitchell is so good at not getting flagged
Yeah,
on top of being draped all over guys. I don't know how he does it. I'm just so glad that those dummies ahead of us in the draft didn't take him last year.
I know. And
Uh
DeJean as well in this game, Jake. He
yep,
has a beautiful coverage play one on one with Justin Jefferson in the corner of the end zone. Justin
yep.
Jefferson against almost any other corner in this league has a significant advantage. You could maybe, question the ball placement a little bit, but he is right there. I mean, it gets to his hands, and DeJean is there to rip it out and comes up with a little smirk right after too, which was
Yeah.
fun.
Like
But
what other slot corners in the league are doing that? Like look around the league and name me a slot corner that's good. Oh yeah, I'll take Justin Jefferson 101. Nobody.
no,
We've got the only guy that can do that. And then not only can he do that, he can go blow up a toss to that left side and get a huge tackle for loss too. I mean, he is
yeah.
those two guys having probably, in my opinion, the best cover corner in the game, coupled with one of the best all around, like whatever you want to call it, that nickel corner, slot corner, whatever, in football. We're just incredibly, incredibly blessed. And I don't know if we've ever had a corner combo that good, and I don't know if we'll ever have it again. So drink it in, folks, because it's beautiful.
I know. The other thing too that I was seeing on a few of these plays is they were using DeJean on the outside,
Mm.
which I think, especially with Dory Jackson going out of this game, although we realize he's not the best option in a
No.
general sense,
No.
he's a better option of he and Keely Ringo for sure
Yeah,
in
yeah, what
this
we
at
have.
this point. Right. So he being out of the lineup, then that forces you to make some adjustments. DeJean has been playing the outside at some points in this season, more so in this game than I had noticed previous. So I mean that's a potential promising sign to see one of your best corners on the outside going against the best wide receiver in the league at this point and standing tough. Um,
Mm.
the the other thing that we were able to do on defense that we have not been able to do for quite a while is finally hold an, a rushing attack under
Yeah.
100 yards, which crazy that we have not done that any
Yeah.
other game this year, but it was impressive, honestly, and I think it kept us in the game more than we realize.
It's one of those things that you could never expect what's going to happen in the NFL because like last year under 100 was like a given for us. If you were
Hmm.
a sports bettor, that was a pretty safe bet from week to week. Eagles will hold them under 100. And this year we can't stop seemingly we can't stop anyone in the run. And then of all the teams we do it against Jordan Mason and the Vikings in their place.
Right.
I don't like Vic Fangio. I have so much faith and trust in Vic Fangio. I think the dude's a wizard. Um, but clearly something hasn't been working. Again, it's not like we're coming off a bye week or anything. I don't know what he saw that he completely turned the ship around from one of the most embarrassing performances we've ever given on defense to this, where we have a far better team than the Giants
Yeah.
away. I mean, New York was away, but it's not like New York's like a super intimidating place to play. This one is. Minnesota away is a tough game to play. And we just came in there and shut down Jordan Mason. 57 yards for that guy and that offensive line. I'll take it every day of the week.
Yeah, we're bottom of the league, close to bottom of the league, bottom tier at least in rush yards allowed, 895 on the year, 4.6 yards per carry. That's still not the numbers you'd like to see. 9 touchdowns on the year. That is another kind of glaring one for this team. Again, bottom of the league. Only two teams have given up more rushing
Right.
touchdowns than the Eagles, the Chargers, and the Titans. So, you want to see that stat go down. A couple of those, three of them came from Scattaboo last week, right? So,
Right.
you are, I think, encouraged by this defensive performance. Jalen Carter being on the field obviously makes a world of difference, I would think, in the run game. Especially if you have a Jalen Carter who's giving effort, which is always kind of a question with him, especially with the nagging injury. Is he going to be out there dogging it, or is he going to be out there making game stopping plays? And I was seeing this as well, Jake. I think N'Kobe Dean is actually helping them in the run game a little bit.
Yeah,
Him
he
being on the
looks good.
field.
Yeah. So last week he was active, but he was only playing special teams. So it wasn't like contributing on defense. This is the first week that he's been back actively contributing. And I don't know about you. Does he look beefier to you? I think he
He
put
does a little
some
bit,
some
yeah.
lbs on. Like the dude's bigger.
Hmm.
I'm convinced he's bigger. And you could tell he laid a wallop on somebody. It might have been Mason. In this one. And listen, we got to remember, he's been out. This is his first week back, and Nolan Smith is out. Like at some point, we're gonna get him back. We haven't really seen this defense at full strength.
No.
And a performance like this, when you're not like, again, Carter's got that nagging injury. There's no Nolan Smith. Presumably, and I really hope this is N'Kobe Dean's worst game. This is the first one back from injury. Presumably, he's just going to get better and better and better. We, I, I'm not sold on the offense yet,
No.
but I think the defense is going to be okay. I really do.
Yeah. He's he did play technically in the last game against the Giants, but he was just on special teams, so he really didn't see the field. It was good to see him back on the field a little bit. And I think that
Yeah.
also frees up some other opportunities in this defense. You talk about Jihad Campbell on this defense helping in the edge play that the Eagles have kind of been missing. Is that a possibility? Obviously, you want him to be in the linebacking core because of his coverage ability on this
Mhm.
team, but I think he's also a threat to rush the quarterback or have Zach Bond, who they've used quite often, go for that rush, and then Jihad Campbell and Nakobe Dean can be back. I don't.
Mhm.
The league has kind of gone away from it, Jake, but I don't mind a 4-3 defense, to be honest with you. Sometimes having
Yeah.
three linebackers on the field's what you need. And if the Eagles have three good linebackers, great. I mean, the
Right.
more the merrier. Especially, hopefully, getting Nolan Smith back in the future will help that defensive line rotation. Only bolstered by a better rotation at the linebacking core.
And speaking of a defensive line rotation, Marshall,
Okay, let's
have
do
you
it.
seen the news? Brandon Graham is allegedly considering coming out of retirement.
That's
What do
kind
you
of
think?
crazy. That's kind of crazy that he would consider. I mean, obviously he still loves this team. He still loves this franchise. When we
Mhm.
talked to him right at the end of the season last year, he was kind of like, they gave me one more run, but they were like, well, we could keep you, but how he was kind of like, maybe you retire. Like
Yeah,
maybe it's
right.
time for you to because they don't want to pay his salary. Fair, I guess, because you're getting a player who was injured again in the Super Bowl after
Right.
suffering a midseason injury that kept him out for the entire playoff run leading up to the Super Bowl. He gets a tackle in the Super Bowl. Just a great story to see him, and you know what he means to this locker room, of course.
Right.
I think that would be a boost to the morale in the locker room, having him back there, as long as he's not talking about the relationship between Jalen and AJ on WIP.
Yeah, right. Please don't. Well, hey, that worked for us last year.
It did.
Maybe we do that again. BG, hop on WIP, air some dirty laundry, and bring the boys together. It'll be great.
Right. Yeah. So I think it makes sense your position of weakness on this team if it's not corner is edge rusher. And it's still we're waiting. Yes, he had the pick six in this game, but we're still waiting for a guy like Jalen Hunt to really have a breakout game to really make an
Right.
impact on this team. Again, Nolan Smith, still no real word as to when he'll be back. We know he's going to be out through at least the bye. So,
Right.
you're still hoping that that's coming down the road, but you want an infusion of energy. And Brandon Graham's almost like a coach on the team, too. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
he can train these young guys. He knows the swim moves. He knows the stunts. He's
Mhm.
familiar with this Vic Fangio defense after a year in it. So I think it makes perfect sense, and it might come at the right price for the Eagles as well. We'll see.
David Robertson did it for the Phils. Why not BG? Right? You know the meme from The Simpsons where like the bartender like throws the guy out of the bar and then he turns around and the guy's like right back. That's Brandon
Yeah,
Graham in the
yeah.
locker room. They try to like throw him out and then they turn around and he's just like waving at him.
Barney, I
I
think.
Yeah, right. Well, and listen, Smith with Zadarius Smith leaving, clearly there was some number of edge rushers that they had in mind for a rotation that is now down one. So I don't know what kind of shape BG's in. Like, did he let himself go over the offseason? Was this always in his mind that he might want to come back for a late run if he was needed? Maybe he kept himself in shape. Those are the things that we don't know
Right.
how realistic this is. But listen, if he is even like 75% of the guy that he was, and he can just give these other guys a rest and be serviceable, bring him back because like you said, those intangibles, his leadership,
Yeah.
the trash talking. I mean, he's all pro trash talking. Bring him back and let's make something happen.
And he's not going to go anywhere else, Jake. I mean, he only played here
No,
in his career. It just
right.
makes perfect sense to make that move, especially now when you're coming into a point in your schedule where pass rush, I think, is going to be a key for
Yeah,
this
I hope he
team.
takes if he takes the league minimum, it's almost like why not?
Yeah,
just do it.
just for the story of it, Jake.
Right. Yeah. Just the memes. How
Hmm.
we do stuff for the memes. That's what we're here for. Make it happen. New York comes to our place next week, Marshall. Do we get revenge? Yes or no?
I think we definitely get revenge. This is a different team, and for a couple of reasons. One, you hope that Quinyon Mitchell is going to play this entire game and that Jalen Carter is going to play this entire game. I think that stifles this passing attack and the running game for the New York Giants. You didn't have your premier threats out there with the defense, so hopefully that alone will shore up the secondary that was getting absolutely blown apart by this team, and not giving up. Hopefully Jackson Dart doesn't have 8 seconds to pass, or able to
Right.
escape the pocket. The things that we saw that really destroyed the Eagles' chances to win in this game. Um, we hope they're not going to be back. And I think that finally opening up the offense, at least putting that on tape, the defense has to respect that that's a possibility for the Eagles, right?
Right.
So you're hoping, especially being at home and having that home field advantage that the Eagles enjoy, as well as getting their superstars back on the defense. That's going to be enough to make the difference here. And I think that Jackson Dart might be starting to come back down to earth a little bit. He had a really crucial interception late in the game against the Broncos that really ruined the chances of the Giants team. I mean, even though they were leading right up into the end, I think that play was the swing that allowed the Broncos to get back down 18-0 at one point in this game to come back and get that win against the Giants. So
Yeah.
he's gettable. The Eagles know that. The Eagles had opportunities to get him, and they did not last week. I just don't see that happening again. How about you, Jake?
So okay, I am operating through the lens of this is going to be rookie quarterback and rookie running back's first time in Philly,
True.
right? That's going to I think that's going to play a big factor. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Jackson Dart might crumble. I don't think he's used to walking in to that hostile of an environment, especially after they beat us. Like, that crowd is just going to be diabolical for this game, and they're going to be all over him. And they're going to be all over Scadaboo too. But Scadaboo is a maniac, and I don't think he'll care. If anything, he might play better. I don't know if you saw in the Broncos game, but like he crossed the plane for a touchdown. There's a defensive back like 4 or 5 yards into the end zone, and he lowers his head and plows into him. Like this dude is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of guy who would come into Philly and just like snarl his teeth and play 10 times better than normal.
Hmm.
So I don't know about you. I think this is an offensive just like shootout. I see like give me a 38-31 win for the Eagles in a classic that we get our revenge, but Scadaboo pops off again. What do you think?
So the Eagles have never lost in Kelly Green since reintroducing it back in the 2022 season, I believe it was a few years back. I think they keep that streak going, and I think that this is a somewhat lopsided victory for the Eagles. I think they got humiliated when they were in New York, and now it's all right. We know what it's like to lose. We are sick of it. Jalen Hurts coming into the
Yeah.
tunnel after that game against the Vikings was like, we're not losers anymore. We're not going to lose like this.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of lit a fire in that whole team, coming off of two really bad losses, two losses that I think were disappointments to everyone in the fan base, everyone in that organization. Let's reestablish who we are here. The Giants are the perfect team to do it against. I'm saying 34-13. Eagles
Ooh,
win.
wow, real trouncing. I would love that. I don't think it's
Hmm.
gonna happen, but I've been wrong before.
Well, you didn't think the Eagles were going to beat the Vikings,
Yeah,
so
I was
I
wrong
will
like
say that.
literally like a week ago. Um, but that's enough fun for now, Marshall. We're Philly sports fans, which means we must be at least somewhat in pain at all times. Those are the rules.
No
And
matter what.
currently, that pain is stemming from the reality that we're going to lose some key pieces from this Phillies team in free agency. Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Ranger Suarez, Harrison Bader, David Robertson, Max Kepler, Walker Bueller, Jose Alvarado, Jordan Romano all need new deals. There are some guys on there that we don't really want back.
Probably
But
not.
the reality is all those guys are going to either need to be re-signed for probably more money or they're going to walk. And short of the Middleton family winning the Mega Millions, we're going to need to pick and choose who we want to bring back. So Marshall, put yourself in the shoes of Dave Dombrowski. They're probably very nice shoes. I'm thinking because of what he gets paid. Who are you bringing back and who do
Uh,
you let walk?
it's a tough one. Honestly, it's a tough one, Jake. I think you at 34, and I hate to say this, but at 34, it might be time to part ways with JT Realmuto.
Q
Um,
taps.
yeah, we might be losing a good one here, Jake, because he has been so solid at that catcher spot for so long for this team, and base running ability, good arm behind the plate, yeah, always a great backstop, and the bat has been decent. I mean, you look at his stats, and I think it's beyond the stats, the approach that he brings, and he hit 257 this year, which is again for a catcher pretty decent, and in an age where average is not king anymore. Still 8 stolen bases this year, 12 homers. So maybe a little bit of a down year for him. I just think that you're starting to maybe see the the age being a factor. I just don't think that he's going to command as much from a dollar standpoint. I should command as much from a dollar standpoint when you have other needs that you're going to be certainly wanting to fill. I don't know. It's tough to find a good catcher though. Marshawn had some good spots in this season. So that's always, I guess, what you have to look at is who's next up, if not JT. It'd be tough to break up the band. That would really be a break up the band kind of move. But to me, JT can be gone, especially if what I want to see happens, which is I think they need to keep Kyle Schwarber. I think they need to keep Harrison Bader. Um, that's that would be my two that like kind of absolutely have to happen to me.
This is so funny, Marshall, because I feel the complete opposite of you.
Really?
This is going to sound crazy, but hear me out. You
Okay.
got to give me a moment.
Okay.
I think, given the landscape of what's out there,
Yeah.
that JT Realmuto should be your number one target above Schwarber, above Suarez, above Bader. Here's why. Short of a trade, which I guess that's always in the cards. Like I'm discounting that because the reality is you can trade for anyone you want as long as
Yeah.
you had the people you're willing to lose. If you are strictly talking free agency and you just take a minute to look around the league, it's bleak at the catcher position, my
Hmm.
friend.
Yeah, that's fair.
I really think this is crazy. I think the best catcher available, other than JT, is Danny Jansen.
Yeah.
And that's not
That's a
it's not
downgrade.
super. He's a backup. I mean, granted, very good Brewers team, but he's a backup catcher on that team. Like Wilson Contreras was the guy, not Jansen. I it sounds nuts because
Hmm.
obviously he's not the weapon that Schwarber is. He's not the weapon
No.
that Bader is. He's not even the weapon that Ranger Suarez is, quite frankly. But when you just look at what's out there, who if this guy leaves, who else can we get? There are plenty of DHs you can go get. Obviously, not that are going to be anywhere close to as good as Schwarber, but there are DHs out there. Plenty of starting pitching, maybe not as effective as Ranger. There are tons of outfielders.
Yeah.
not as effective as Bader. But you see what I mean. There are guys out there that could come and fill that same role. JT's one of one, at least
Hmm.
right now in the market.
In the talent
Um,
pool. Yeah.
right.
I get
And
that.
that's why I really think he should be. And he's listen, he's gonna cost you some money, but it's not gonna be outrageous, I don't think. I don't now he's looking for 3 years, which I'm like, I don't know. But maybe if you could lower that average annual value, which is kind of like king in contract talks anymore. Um, listen, maybe he'll give us a little bit of a cut rate because he's getting a little older. He had
Right.
a down year at the plate. His framing stats are down, like all the baseball nerd stuff.
Right.
He's trickling. Listen, he's still good, but it's all coming down. JT, stay with us. Give us a little deal. We'll give you your 3 years. Hang out for a little while. Let's go win a ring.
I
Come
know.
on, JT,
I
stay.
I want him to stay. I want pretty much all these guys to stay. Other than I think I Max Kepler, take it or leave it. I could
See
see
ya.
him go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think JT and Schwarber are you two potential like highest earners that you
Right.
need to consider here. Um, I think it's probably you keep one or you keep the other. I don't think you're keeping both to be realistic.
Yeah.
So it's who you're going to prioritize. Uh, I think Ranger's an interesting question because he at times has really shown that, he's gone deep in games. And even in the postseason, he's had some good outings. I think even this postseason, he played well when he was asked to pitch. And that's the thing. He's not being asked to pitch in big spots. But again, like, what are you looking at in terms of what's going to be available on the free agent market? That's always going to
Right.
be the question. I like Ranger, but I think you have some questions to answer for your pitching rotation. And the first question is, what does Zach Wheeler look like?
Right.
And is it feasible that he comes back to full strength to be the ace that he can be? Aaron Nola again, kind of up and down. We had the Nola start there in the playoffs that went pretty all right. I mean, he didn't play he
Hey,
didn't play
didn't give up any
poorly.
runs.
Um,
Yeah.
like he gave up some hits, but he didn't give up any runs. Um, and then you've got Ranger coming in. So I don't know. It's a tough call for me. I think of these, Robertson seems like the easiest to say. All right, just age alone. It's probably time for him to
Well,
go.
and again, he did a Brandon Graham
Yeah.
potentially. I think he was retired. At least he wasn't with a team. I don't know
Hmm.
if he was like officially retired and came out of retirement or if no one wanted
Mm.
him. But he
Yeah.
was sitting at home and the Phils said, "Hey, like start loosening up because we're gonna sign you." And so maybe he's just done. I kind of get the sense that like just based on I listened to Dombrowski's press conference and you got the feeling Robertson, Kepler, Bueller, and Romano are not even priorities. I don't even know if they're like being considered. Um,
Mm.
the wrinkle in the Suarez thing that I want to talk about is like there's two wrinkles actually. The one wrinkle works in our favor, which is Ranger was like almost emotional about wanting to come back. He said it in a clubhouse interview. He said he didn't want this to be his last game in a Phillies uniform. That's helping us. It seems like he's happy here.
Right.
Here's the problem. Does he I think I check me on this. I think he's being represented by Scott Boras, which is not
Mm.
great. If you are familiar with Scott Boras, he will just milk every cent out. And he doesn't play nice. He takes forever to commit. Um
It is Scott
it,
Boras, Jake.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. So that's a problem. The other problem being that I think Suarez is one of the best starters on the market right now.
Available. Yeah.
And you get the issue of like, I'm trying to think like a Baltimore or someone like that paying
Hmm.
him a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
And like, listen, you can love the Phillies all you want, but if someone overpays you by an insane amount of money, like you're gonna take that deal.
Oh, of
Probably.
course. course.
Um, and listen, I love the guy, but I don't know if he's going to be worth like the insane amount of money that I really do think someone's going to pay him.
I think so
Um,
too. Yeah.
I think you capitalize on the sentiment that it seems like he's happy here, and you just say qualifying offer, slowly slide across the table. Don't look at Scott Boras. Treat him like Mendoza. Look right at Ranger and say, Ranger, if you're happy here, sign the paper and do it quickly. I don't think he'll do it. I just
Don't say
hope he
no,
does.
Ranger. Don't say no.
Yeah, quick, sign it.
Sign it now.
Right. I don't think it'll work, but I think that's like our only shot because I really do think someone's going to overpay him if we don't get him, and I'll be very, very sad. But I think to your point, I think he's one, like especially with a guy like Andrew Painter, hopefully being ready next year. He's a guy that maybe like you can live without. I don't want to. I don't want to live
No.
without him, but I think you can live without him.
Yeah.
Another piece that we've got to talk about. Alvarado has a club option. And from what I'm seeing, it looks like he's coming back. Um, we missed him all pretty much all year, and then definitely in the postseason, we really missed him because he was suspended from that failed drug test. So stay off whatever you were taking there, Jose, and come back and light it up for your last year. That's a huge boon for this bullpen. That like I'm thinking of that postseason team as our team, and he wasn't on it. It's almost like a free agent signing in a way. It seems silly,
in a sense,
but it kind of is like a signing instead of you're not losing him. That'll be a big boost.
Yeah.
Another one, Marshall. There's talk of Castellanos just not playing with us next year. His contract is not up. He has 1 year left.
I don't think he's happy. I don't think he's happy at all. And I don't honestly blame him for that entirely. If he's not getting the playing time or he's being subbed out for Kepler. And then especially late in the year, it was like, we're going to go with Marsh and Bader and Kepler or whoever else in the outfield. And he hasn't been performing either. So I don't know. I don't know where is the line for him. Does he think that it's, oh, I'm in Philadelphia and, this Phillies organization and these fans and all that's just bringing me down, and that's why I'm not able to hit a baseball? Or is he like being real with himself? Like maybe my abilities are sliding a little bit here comparatively.
Yeah. Here's the problem. The problem is not necessarily Nick Castellanos. The problem is the situation Nick Castellanos has been in.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one, the man's a DH. That's just who he is.
And Schwarber's never going to be out of the DH.
Right. So he's been being forced to play corner outfield, and he is statistically one of the worst 3 outfielders in baseball, behind Juan Soto and Joe Adell. Both guys who mash the ball.
Right.
And so if you're the Mets, obviously, you're not going to like yank Soto out because he can't field. Who cares? The problem is Castellanos had a career off year at the plate. So you're not contributing offensively, and you're a bona fide liability defensively. So he complained about his platoon. He complained about the communication. Kepler's gone, but I don't know if I want him back. Here's what we got to consider this.
Is he a clubhouse cancer?
That's another thing. That's not even what I was going to say, but that's a great point. Maybe he was bringing the vibe down.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is we have 2 of the best outfield prospects in baseball sitting in AAA.
Yeah.
Justin Crawford. I personally, like in person, got to watch Justin Crawford. The dude can slap. He's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to have like the power numbers everyone wants, but I don't really care personally. He's lightning quick, good defensively. I've heard they like think of him more as like a corner outfielder defensively, but I saw him in center and I thought he looked really good. I don't know. I just know that kid can play. We've got, again, maybe Bader comes back, maybe not. But if we can get someone, listen, we're not going to be able to trade Castellanos and get anyone to take 20 million because that's what we owe him. But if we can split it, or you take 8, we'll take 12 kind of thing, and we can get even a little something something in return, I'd view
Yeah.
that as a win. The one thing I really don't want to do, and this has been brought up in reporting, is that we could just cut him. I don't know. I I think I almost feel like it's worth a flyer on him at that point, because what happens is he'd go sign for the league minimum somewhere, so he'd be playing for pennies, and then we'd have to pay the offset, which would be like, I don't know, 19.4 million. I don't know, take your pick.
Right.
But we owe him a crap ton of money anyway. So at that point, why not just let him, be with us and hit? Um, Especially if we don't get Schwarber back. But Marshall, our payroll is the fourth highest in baseball at 290 million. In theory, if you bring all these guys back, not all of them, even if you bring some of them back, it's going to go up. So it's
Right.
like, what do you do if you're the front office?
I don't know. You're kind of in a pickle. I I think that you're probably again kind of still mourning this end of the season, um, especially being in the position of having that first round bye, having all of these superstars that you know are going to be gone or could be gone over this off season, and not capitalizing again. I think, obviously you're going into this kind of licking your wounds a little bit. And fourth highest, a little surprising, honestly, compared to you expect um, the New Yorks and the LAs to be really up there, and even cities like San Francisco, some other places, you think, oh, okay, maybe Philly's not going to be that high on the list here. But fourth highest, given the superstars that they have, Trey Turner commands a lot of money, Bryce Harper commands a lot of money. That it makes sense. I I don't know. The approach could be maybe we build from the farm system a little bit more coming up. You didn't mention the guy that I was thinking of in the outfield who's still sitting in the minors, which is Johan Rojas. And I say that a little jokingly, but also not so jokingly, because I think from a defensive standpoint, he was giving you just some web gems out there in the last couple of seasons. His bat has not come back around, and I know that that's really where it was impossible to keep him in the lineup. And I was just looking at his minor league stats, and in the last 30 games, he was hitting 196 in the minors. So
Blech.
that's not what you want. But
Nope.
it's again, can you develop a guy like that? Maybe it's not Rojas, maybe it is somebody else. Do you have somebody else coming from the minors that you think, all right, this is the next generation? Because Schwarber, Harper, maybe getting there with Turner, Castellanos, like
JT, yeah,
JT, they're all in that group of like, your early 90s babies that are going to be out, thrown out at some point,
right.
and no longer as effective as they once were. And they are your big money guys right now. So
Yeah.
there's a point here, right? Are we going to stick with, this is kind of a philosophy question. Do you want to stick with what has been working to an extent, has not been working at getting you championships, or do you want to start this kind of mini rebuild process? Because I think there's still pieces to keep here. It's not a full on like let's get
Yeah, Harper's
everybody.
locked in, Turner's locked
Yeah.
in. Like those guys, those kind of guys are still around. But a lot of these big pieces we're mentioning, it's a decision, which is
Hmm.
is crazy. Like we have a good guy to do it. Like Dombrowski isn't the kind of guy that is just going to crumble up the whole thing and throw it over his shoulder. Um, Here's my issue, Marshall. We made 3 free agent signings last year. Okay, Max
Whopping three.
Kepler,
Hmm.
Max Kepler, yeah, Jordan Romano, bleh,
Yeah.
Joe Ross, bleh,
Horrible.
yuck.
Yeah.
3, well, I will call Max Kepler a complete dud. 2.5 duds.
Yeah. I mean, Kepler had some moments. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They were 0.5 for three.
That's not good.
Do you have faith that they're gonna make the right call? That I don't. I don't know
No,
about you.
no, not at this point. I think they've proven that there's some things that they're just not adept at addressing. But also, like, I don't know. I always think about the other side of the street, and how well Howie is able to move off of players when he knows the time is right.
He's very
And
good at that.
he just is like, well, you know what? It might be a year or two before the end of your prime, or it might be a year or two before you really fall off. But I don't think that those extra 2 years are worth the mark on my balance sheet here that you're gonna have to take up.
Right.
I'd rather just move off. I don't know. I don't have faith in them to do that, but that has to be the approach for some of these guys. That the romanticism should not be there for a Castellanos to me. It's just
Right.
I think at this point it's cool. He had the thing with the son. I liked some of those moments. He had some really good playoff appearances. He hit some long home runs. I think the experiment's over. I think it's just
Right.
he's not giving you what you need right now, and that was so evident, especially in the playoff approach. Like, he was only in there because Bader wasn't. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
The thing that I think works in our favor is that, like, we're not necessarily relying on the front office to go make signings like the three we just discussed.
Right.
I think it's more of like, who do you bring back? Like,
Yeah.
we know the quantities. It's not them saying, oh, I think Jordan Romano is going to come in here and do great, and then he stinks. Um, you know what you have. It's just like you said, it's almost more of a philosophical question. Are
Hmm.
you going to run it back, or are you going to go in a different direction? We talked about Justin Crawford. I talked a little bit about Andrew Painter. Aiden Miller is a really, really, really good prospect.
Yeah.
Gabriel Rincones Jr. is another really, really, really good prospect. Do you do what Arizona did a couple years ago and just lean into the youth, the energy they bring,
Right.
the lack of tape, which I think is like an important thing, at least early in the season.
Yeah.
Like that's a legitimate answer to losing Castellanos, losing Bader. There's two outfielders that I think are ready now.
Right.
You stick them out there with Marsh. I think if nothing else, it would be dynamic. I don't know if it would be
Yeah.
championship winning, but it would be fun to
It'll be
watch.
fun. Yeah.
Um,
And some mystery for us as fans.
right.
Not
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's in a slump again. Castellanos swinging at a pitch 15 feet
Right.
outside the plate
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
So strike one. What do you know? You
Yeah.
chased one that hit the guy in the batter's box or in the warm up
On deck
circle.
circle. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But listen, that's what I mean. To your point. That's a great point. It's a philosophical question. What are they going to do? I don't know about you, but I'm actually like anticipating a free agency cycle, which is not a normal thing for me.
Hmm.
Normally am just kind of tuned out. Oh, look, Phillies made a signing, whatever. I'm locked in for this one, and I think it's going to be an exciting one.
I think so too. Uh, I personally think that there needs to be some change now. I think we did the whole, okay, we're going to give this core its shot. And looking at the numbers, especially with Schwarber, I want to keep Schwarber and I want to keep Real Muto. I just don't think it's going to be realistic. And, you know, again, the Howie approach would be right now is the time to make that go away, right? Like the
Right.
Eagles, this is probably a little pre-Howie, but the Eagles moved off of McNabb when Reed thought it was time. There's some other points in
Right.
it throughout the history of the city that it made sense to put what to bed and try
Yeah.
to experience something new. Um, and I think that we might be at that point because you can't get out of the first round of the playoffs. So that's a damning thing for this franchise. And it's a damning thing for this city that expects championships, especially considering the jerseys we're wearing,
Yeah,
and the
right.
success that they've had. So if you're comparing yourself to what's happening across the street, you probably got a fire under your butt right now. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
and listen, Kyle Tucker's out there. That
Hmm.
Murakami guy's out there. There are some exciting pieces that you can invest in if you don't bring back this core that we're talking about. So, balls in the court of the front office. It's going to be a fun one, and we're going to be monitoring it
Oh
very
yeah.
closely as always. So stick around with us. Stick around through the ups and downs of Philly sports fandom. The Eagles are gonna throttle the Giants, according to Marshall.
In their Kelly Green.
And,
It's gonna happen.
we're gonna be back here next week, celebrating and making fun of Jackson Dart, or so we hope.
For the love of Broad Street.
For the love of Broad Street, we'll see you next week.